Welcome acolytes, today I am reacting to Jason Pi X4. Lolicon Hate is so forced, overblown and overrated, it's laughable. And as you may know or not, I was a Lolicon hater, but got informed, or let's just say it like this, I had a few viewers that actually told me the fine details about the entire thing, and I have to say I was wrong about it, but there is still a subsect of Lolicons that I despise, namely those who actually like the characters that look like children. Still not a fan of those, but the rest, totally fine. Have some in my as my viewers, and it's fine acolytes. But as it is, let's just start and see what Senpai has to say, except for if you like my content, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, press the notification button, and show me and Jason Pi X4 some love. So let's start now.
Keep it very much a stack. I absolutely think at this point, the topic of lolly or anything considering it kind of is just extremely overblown at this point.
Yes, it is, but it also... I really had to think about the entire thing for a long time, acolytes, because in the end of the day, it's still the initial thing is just protecting children, because you all know that lolicons can look very young. And while I understand why, now after informing myself, of course that's total bullshit, but that's a lot of things. Just like games make violence, or just basically pop out violence like nothing else, cause violence, so you know.
Like, there is no way I can sit here and just be like, yeah, everything is basically, you know, a war zone, everything is the way it is, and, you know, people are gonna fight constantly to the death about the subject, but I don't think it's as overblown as people try to make it out to be online, right? Considering the whole, like, video that was going around about the whole, you know, take Osmond go had when it comes down to, you know, the credit card processing companies, which that's what he was mainly talking about. But then
I am happy that he actually talks about the credit card thing. It's a very important and nice theme.
Some random furry chick decided to be like, you know what? This is men's problem. This is a Japanese problem. You know, we need to handle this shit and all that type of stuff. It's like, what are we talking about? How do we jump from this to this? And also, how did we get to some context that he didn't even say? Number one. And it's just like, when you really look at the grand scheme of things, it's not that crazy as people make it out to be. Her ass was like on some time of like, oh, no woman in Japan feels safe. But I guarantee you, if you took a damn plane ticket to Japan right now and you went over there to observe the women, I'm pretty sure a fair amount of them is going to be feeling pretty at home.
Yes, by the way, I had Japanese girlfriends, so I am of course entitled to speak about it. No, but after I actually informed myself, yes, Japanese women are most of the time feeling normally safe. And the furry shit he is actually talking about, or the... Oh, and I already cursed. I really have to be way more active about not doing it, because, well, as maybe you'd seen or didn't see at the videos where I curse, they get really stumped, and for a small channel like mine, that's very bad. But yes, let's just... Okay. No, Japanese women most of the time feel safe. The thing is, there are different things that are way worse, but not diving in this right now, but there are way different things that are way worse, but this isn't one of them.
I'm pretty damn sure. Is there some things that could be changed over there? Sure. You know, there could be. Like, for instance, there shouldn't be a damn rail car that separates the men and the women, because men should learn how to keep their hands to themselves, sure. We shouldn't even have that in the first damn place. But at the very same time, it's not that crazy as people make it out to be. Right? It genuinely is not. And then to push this shit to be on anime and manga and things of the sort like that, to be like, oh, this is like the main bad thing that we have to focus on in ways. It just, again, it goes into dumbass situations after dumbass situations of dumbass talking points and dumbass people. It just screams, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And that's really what this comes down to, you know? And again, I will voice this as always. If you don't like something, perfectly fine. No one's hating on you if you like something or if you don't like something. At this point, it's like, if you don't like it, cool. No one's here to shit on you.
I disagree with this one. As you might or might not know, there are some, and I hate it, yeah. Just let's say woke people, they will shit on, they'll defecate on you no matter what you do. So yes, that's irrelevant. There are enough people who actually hate on people that like something, but be it by not understanding or misunderstanding or something like this. But the thing is, that's a small minority. You can just ignore them for the most part, and if not, well, everybody of us has a freaking weapon in their arsenal somewhere, some kind. Acolytes, if you don't, well, baseball bats are legal, and they are effective. For baseball, of course. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
That being said, when you start trying to go after people or harass people over the subject of it, and you have a take that's obviously like bad, then yes, people are gonna have a problem with it. Easily. Like, who wouldn't want to clear the air and tell what actually is the truth? But then you're still gonna get people that are dumb as hell that believes that garbage anyway.
Yeah, the thing is, you always have to. Certain things just aren't that easy. Of course. Can you objectively say that cutting someone's hand off is bad? Let's just say cutting someone's hand off for fun is bad. Yes. If the hand gets necrotic, you have to cut it off. Then it's not a bad thing. But we're talking in extremes right now. At the end of the day, no, not all things are simply, objectively, statively true. Sometimes you have to get a nuance in it, because if you don't get a nuance in it, it's gonna go awry. And as I already actually said, like with Lolicon, do I care about if grown ass women get depicted younger than they are or smaller than they are in some media? I don't care. Let's just say, if you know One Punch Man Tatsumaki, that's fine for me. Now, if this Lolicon looks like a freaking 10-year-old girl, I have a giant problem with it. Even if it's 100-year-old freaking vampire, I don't care. I have a problem with that. That's not good, at least in my opinion. Would I say it's objectively wrong? Probably not, because it's still only a drawing. But in my opinion, it's just quite, well, acolytes, it's disgusting, quite frankly. But as I said, it's only for the very, 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 very young Lolicon thing. And a lot of Lolicon viewers of mine actually agree with me. Now, does that mean that I'm objectively right? No, it doesn't. But you know my nuance, you know what I want from this, and this is how you can look at it. And that's why I disagree with you.
To think, there is a problem over there when it's really not, right? Because all this shit does is just self-censorship. What that will lead into, right? And as we said before many times, if Lolly were to go, guess what? They're probably gonna attack furry shit next. Yeah. And then they're probably gonna attack violence again in games and media and shit like that next. Until they basically control effing everything that we like.
No, I'm gonna be honest here, no. If Lolicon just stays as it is, it's gonna be next step video games, then let's say furry, then let's say something different, and then the circle just starts from anew. There are just a lot of things that are unacceptable and that will be attacked from time to time. It's always a circle. It will come back at some point. At some point, D&D will be ostracized again and be told that it's a demon thing. Pokemon, probably not with this generation, but at some point a different series will be attacked. Games will be attacked again. And it's just a circle. It will repeat. If I personally hear stuff like that, I just ignore it, acolytes. Like, let's be honest here, it's just, at the end of the day, it's worthless. Hearing something like that without any real reasoning is just worthless.
And I don't see how people don't see that shit. I don't understand that, right? But let's just continue to talk about the whole Lolly thing, right? This is going to be retreading some old ass ground for anybody that has been around this channel for.
Okay, I had to think about it. What you said, you don't see how people don't see it. A tip from me on SmilingLich 4, or you mate, if you ever see this, Don't think about the things you know. If you ask yourself how people cannot know something, inform yourself about the things you don't know. Do you realize one thing? You don't know shit. Just as I don't know shit. Just as you, Acolyte, don't know shit. It's a very, very minuscule amount of information you actually got. And if you go through that process, you'll realize and understand how people may not see it as you see, or don't have the information.
For, a long period of time, because we've been talking about this shit for about pretty much 4 years now, out of the 5 years I've been doing this. So when it comes down to it, this is nothing new. But when it comes down to just the entirety of the discussion, let's really look at anime from the beginning of things, right? Where did a lot of this stuff, stem from, of how anime is today? It mainly stemmed from Shota and Lollies. Look no further than something like Astro Boy, right? Astro Boy is a whole ass Shota. Robots, but still a Shota with Shota qualities, right? Look at something like, that, and then easily see that, oh, if it wasn't for someone like Astro Boy, mecha shows and robot shows, and, I'd even argue something like, like the Power Rangers and things of the sort of that nature, that shit wouldn't even work if it wasn't for something like an Astro Boy. Or you look at Dr. Slump with Aurelie, right? If it wasn't for Aurelie helping out being like a popular hit, Dragon Ball might not have been as big as a hit as it would be.
Will I agree with this? Yes, partially to a large degree, yes. He's actually quite correct about it.
Potentially. Can't necessarily say completely, like, oh, that's a confirmed thing, but there's a good chance that, Toriyama probably wouldn't have that place where he would be at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And then look at Goku even in Dragon Ball. What did he start out as? A damn Shota? A alien monkey man, but a Shota nonetheless. That was the thing at the time, right? Especially within the 80s, we had something literally called the Lolicon boom, which was literally just everything Lolicon. Everything lolly shit, right? Everything on the Shota side of stuff. That's where it was going to. Because they started to explore that narrative, like, what if we just start using those type of characters? And what if we just start mixing the art styles up just a bit from shoujo and into sci-fi and things of the sort like that? What if we just start mixing that shit? And that's why we got stuff...
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here right now. The thing I just seen... I don't like this. But okay, good. Fair enough.
Like that now. That's why things are the way they are now.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not saying it should be, but it should be totally communicated, but I would have something against that one.
When it comes to certain pieces of anime. Because they mixed shit up back then, and people were really into it. Hell, when it comes down to it, if you really just look at the whole damn picture, you can easily sit here and tell and just be like, well, if it wasn't for them experimenting with lollies and the Lolicon boom happening, we wouldn't know where we could take anime, honestly. We wouldn't know what type of stories we could honestly tell with it.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And honestly, if it wasn't for it, we wouldn't have the way anime is now, right? So when it comes down to Gensai and the animated studio versions of it and things of the sort like that, we can thank some lollies for it, because the first damn Gensai to ever exist was literally called Lolita Anime.
Yeah. By the way, this is the origin of Lolicon.
What do you think this was? If we're going to look at Cat Girls or something like that, if it wasn't for this character, this modern version of a cat girl wouldn't exist. Sure, you can sit here and say, well, this is the first version of it, yes, but at the very same time, what's the modern version of it that we still use today? This. And then look at the spectrum of cat girls that exist.
I don't understand this argument, because as you can actually see, this is pure bollocks. Acolytes, this doesn't even look like a freaking cat girl, does it? A cat girl is literally a girl with cat ears. Okay, but maybe I'm wrong about this one.
Within fiction just now, right? If it wasn't for this chick and this modern take, the first modern take, we wouldn't necessarily, have this to be the thing going into the future, right?
Yeah.
And so many other things could be also attributed to lollies being the first ones to step in and do Literally anything. So you can't necessarily sit here and just be like trying to remove this shit hard as hell when it literally has been the backbone again of the damn anime industry and just anime as a whole, and just that part of entertainment in Japan as a whole too. This is stuff that we've already talked about. Me and my channel, we already know this stuff. My people, we already know this stuff. We've talked about this before plenty of times, right? This is nothing new. Again, if you don't like this stuff, perfectly fine. Just don't come in and try to ruin it for everybody else. Because that's really what this shit comes down to. Because, oh, it's not necessarily conform to what I like and what I am used to and the things I see. Now I have to make it basically everybody's problem. That's essentially what this ends up being. It ends up being a case where it's like, you know what? This isn't to my taste, so now I have to ruin it for everybody else until it turns into something that I care for. And even then, I'm probably not going to care for it as much.
Yep. And I agree with him on this one, because this is exactly how those freak activists work. They overtake something, change it to a degree where it's just unacceptable for the fans, and then just destroy it. Yes.
Literally. That's literally how it ends up turning into in a lot of these conversations. Especially when it's something that you don't even hard like or hard care for when it comes down to the genre of the thing that you aiming for. If you want sensitive stuff and you want things where it's in your feelings and stuff like that, go watch Western cartoons. Steven Universe was a heavy ass example of that shit, and I can understand why people hate Steven Universe. Literally find something else. Find something else that you very much would enjoy. You don't have to be a part of the anime circle. The only reason why people are joining it and trying to do this shit is because it's popular, and it's literally the thing that people talk about more than anything now.
Yeah. I think he's correct about this to a certain degree. So yes, I mean, yeah. It's the popular thing right now. It's popular to hate on it also. Yeah. But the one thing I'm gonna say, because it sounds like he actually did just announces it, you can criticize everything you want to a certain degree, but don't be an asshole about it.
Right? It's literally so big that it's in like the Macy's Day Parade for years. So it's been a thing for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a My Hero character or some shit just get popped into the Macy's Day Parade or something like that. It wouldn't surprise me, because that's just how mainstream everything is when it comes to anime now. And now, because it's mainstream, you get the dumbass people conversing with the people that's been here the longest time. Again, I have the preferences this. When it came down to like the 2000s on down, no one had a problem with a lot of the stuff that was in our entertainment. Now all of a sudden when we get to these upper numbers of years, now it's just like, oh, it's an actual problem, and it never really was. It's the exact same way why we don't get certain games made now, right? While something like Stellar Blade is easily, you know, something new and creative, and something that we haven't really seen in a long time with a character that looks like that, that isn't effing butt ugly. Like, just to keep it very much a stack. It's the reason why we don't get shit like a DOA now, and if it does come back, it's probably going to be censored hard as hell and not going to have the stuff that made DOA, and things of the sort like that, right? Because again, I think if you genuinely are just scared of things like that, then find something else. And then another thing to add to it, to people that be like, well, I don't like this type of material, this shit is weird as hell and all that type of stuff, fine, but it shouldn't be banned, because you do realize that there is still a market for this shit, right? There is. Why do you think gacha games add in these type of characters all the time? Because people know they like these type of characters. In various different ways, maybe just...
Let's just say it like this. Yes, he's correct. There is a market for everything. But you cannot be so certain about and promote everything, because there are certain things, and I don't want to go into extremes right now, because all the extremes I am just remembering could be, let's just say, elephant effing. You don't want to promote that. There is a market for it, but I wouldn't promote that. Or animal abuse, I wouldn't promote that. There is a market for it, but I'm gonna be honest, don't promote it.
because they're cute, or maybe it is because you want to clap. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing, you know. So in the end of the day, it's just basically, you know, if there's a market for it, why not cash in on it?
No.
I would. Definitely I would. If I was smart, I would.
No, you wouldn't. I guarantee you, you have a freaking soul. Guaranteed. There are a lot of markets you could actually join in, and you don't. Because you're a normal thinking human being. And Acolytes, every single one of you has, at least to a certain degree, a certain decency. Because there are a lot of corrupt things we all could do that would make us a lot of money, but we don't. Either because they are illegal, or because we, as a person, or just because you, Acolytes, just don't do it because it's unhumane, or just bad, or it harms other people. Same way why I'm, and I am a bit more flexible if it comes to certain things, but even no, you know, that's
because it's not anything illegal or anything crazy, so why not?
Okay,
and
good.
Then most people
finally he actually said it. Yes, if it's not illegal or anything crazy, good. Forget the argument I just said. Okay, yes, I agree with you.
But that join these conversations that be thinking that they are on hot shit timing, a lot of them be hypocritical as hell, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, they're half the time they're probably gonna have somebody in their like post, or they probably like something of a character getting railed or some shit like that, or something sexy, and then it's like, oh, the character is probably like in high school or some shit, right? And that's just like how it is. And this is unfortunately the amount of people that we have to deal with now, because people are just stupid. They can't necessarily think for 5 seconds, right? Here's my genuine hot take, right? Of all things, I think if you were to dead ass literally go around the anime community as a whole, no nonsense, you would probably find like maybe over half of people not necessarily giving a shit about Lolly that hard when it comes to is it problematic or not. I bet that's probably the percentage. And then the other half is going to pretend to be pissed off about it, and then the other half of that is also going to be like actually upset about it.
Yeah, the thing is, yes, but they also are in the material. In that material, they know their stuff, they know what it's about, and everybody has his opinion about it. That's why they know. If you're not in the material, if you're not in this freaking community, you won't know the necessary parts of it, or every part of it. Because, as I said, I also was on information that actually made me look at Lolicon as something purely negative, no nuance. Well, as I said, I got my mind changed.
I genuinely think there's more people that don't mind it more than people that do. But the only reason why I say that is for clout and baiting and things of the sort like that, and pretending to hate it, even though they literally have other shit in their likes or posts or whatever that, you know, basically makes them a hypocrite and things of the sort like that. Because it just doesn't make sense. It genuinely doesn't, you know? Plus, to keep it very much a state, Japan actually did, governmentally wise, they tried to stop, you know, Lolly at one point in time, or at least try to halt it with that one bill. I can't remember what the name of the bill was.
Oh,
but it was basically like, oh, you can't necessarily show, you know, humans or like human-like things when it comes to these type of characters doing something like sexual and stuff like that, right? Or something to that effect, right? But at the end of the day, guess what they did to figure out a way around it? What artists did? The 1,000-year-old Lolly trick. It never gets old. The 1,000-year-old Lolly trick is the reason why you have the characters you have now. If it wasn't for that bill, that's the reason why you have those type of characters. So, of course, yeah, we're going to look at characters like Tatsumaki, who's 28, who looks way younger than that. Of course, we're going to have characters that look like La Brava, but then end up actually being like an adult and whatever. Of course, you're going to have characters that is like Freerin, but actually lives like way like longer, like hundreds of years, and things of sort like that. Of course, you're going to have other plenty of characters that's like that, and then they actually been around for like tons of years. Of course, Chi-Chi is going to be a dead zombie chick who actually been around for like hundreds of years and whatever. Of course, because that's
Yep. I personally think that Firen is a bad example of this, not because of the fact that she is so old and looks a bit younger, but because it's a different race of elves. I think that this would be looked upon differently if we lived with it, but hey.
that's their way around it. That's how they got around that shit. Because no artist liked that shit. None of the artists that heard that bill the first time when they first heard it, they didn't like that shit at all. Because it didn't make sense. It limited their freedom of expression. What I also think this comes down to, just to throw this in there, I might get absolutely demolished for saying this though, but like I think this dead ass comes down to just women wanting to just voice their opinion about something and control the narrative of what
I wouldn't say specifically women, I would say freaks.
a lot of the negative things that they don't like. I think it comes down to something like that. Because it's like, if you really look at the spectrum of the different takes that has been happening over the years and how it's been said over the years and things of sort like that, we can't say a lot of the shit that we really want to say, but and then we can't necessarily like sit here and correct a woman on something, because a lot of the time they're gonna get backed up and then, you know, they're gonna make the other opposing force look bad as shit. It's not all women, but women like that raw chick. People like that is very much the reason why America's social stuff in society is kind of like the way it is, because they keep having shit takes like that and they keep feeling the way they do and thinking and really relying on their feelings for justification and things and sort of like that. And that's the reason why shit is the way it is, why you get women like her in governmental positions and just higher up positions in companies like Sweet Baby Inc. and shit and things of sort of like that. That's probably the reason why we are in the way we're in, because the effing men, even though you basically been running the game for about 10 plus years at this point, voicing your concerns and such. Some concerns valid, right? Let's not keep it that. Some concerns are very valid. A lot of other concerns in the entertainment space, though, a lot of it is really much bullshit, to be honest, right? A lot of it really is. And the fact that it is this way, and it's mainly only for real, only America that's acting the way it is, because no other country is really acting hard as hell when it comes to it, it just goes to show you where the most trouble coming from, right? It genuinely just does. That's why y'all probably was so scared of the damn election, honestly, because you don't like the idea of what is about to happen with that. I ain't gonna go too far into it because politics, but that's probably the reason why so many people are scared and so many women are scared right now.
Wait, what? Is this pre-recorded? Oh yeah, it is some pre-recorded stuff. Because Trump won at this point. And this is a pretty long while ago, so this must be pre-recorded, okay.
Because of the shit that they see within that next presidency. And things.
Yeah, and by the way, the funniest the funniest thing was that they, after Trump won, some women actually wanted to punish their husbands and boyfriends by not sleeping with them. How stupid are you to basically punishing a person that you love for something they didn't have any influence over? It's just sick.
Things are sort of like that. So there's also that. There's plenty parts of this conversation that we can have. Plenty parts of it where it goes into different parts of the spectrum and things of the sort like that. That can go forever and completely off topic. But the point is that this is not a fat ass issue that people should be worried about, right? It just genuinely isn't. Plus, if you are someone that's been advocating against this shit and you post something about it and you show like censored versions of that very same thing that you don't like, if this was illegal, yo bitch ass would be basically taken down immediately. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts of discussion. That's just how it is.
No, that's not true. You can do a lot of illegal things on social media. I'm gonna point out Hassan literally having on Twitch a freaking terrorist. F him. Honestly, just alone that he should sit in prison for that. So nah, you can do illegal stuff. It's just a question if you can get away with it or for how long.
So you're really just not really helping your own point at all. Plus, when it comes to conversations like these, especially in English, this is one side of the spectrum, not anybody else's side. This is just mainly like the American Western side of the spectrum. Have you talked about this to people in Japan? Have you spoke about this shit to women in Japan and how they view this shit? Probably haven't. Have you been around the Lolicon circles and shit? Probably haven't, because I ain't gonna cap. As far as I've seen, there's a lot of Lolicons that are absolutely chill and just regular ass people that just happen to like this stuff. That's just it. It's not that big of a deal. It's really not. And anytime somebody's been against it, they've been canceled to the next moon. They've been canceled to a high ass degree. And it's like, well, did they say anything negative about Lawless shit? Sometimes. And it's like, yeah, that pretty much seals the deal. A lot of cases, that's been the case. Is it completely like 100% guaranteed? No, but it's like that's been the case for a lot of this shit, honestly. And then going back to Japan, it's like, all right, well, you do realize there's like a lot of women that exist over there that are artists themselves that also draw that type of material. Yes. And there's a lot of women over there themselves that enjoy that type of material, dark type material and things of the sort like that. Why you think Redo a Healer is well liked in Japan? Because of women. They like that shit. And if you've been around any Asian woman ever at any point in time, you know that there's some different shit that they like versus something that you probably like, right? I've seen it firsthand, easily. So it's not necessarily a shocking surprise that this shit is accepted over there and it's fine for the most part, right? If really at all, when it comes down to it. And it's like, no wonder why people over here have a hard ass time understanding, because they're just not a part of it for real. All in all, this has just been just some random ass nonsense that just continues to keep happening. This is why having debates on this subject will never really work out, because there's going to be always a different opinion and no one learning anything at the end. And it really
no. A good debate will actually feed you with new information, or most of the time, I think. And debate about this, most people just don't want to talk about this because it's a icky thing to talk about. So
all you can do is just accept that this is just a thing that Japanese people like. That this is a thing that's fine over there, instead of trying to cancel it like everything else because you don't necessarily like it. It should conform to your shit. No, absolutely not. And if you don't like something that hard, make your own shit. If you can write and if you're creative, write and make your own shit. Why do you think? Hell, why do you?
No. You don't have to necessarily make your own stuff. Just piss off if you don't like it. Simple as that. Just go away.
I think I made my own series on this damn channel when it comes down to it, because I don't necessarily like the direction of how fiction is kind of going. How less of this type of stuff can be added to it. So of course I made my own shit. Why not? Why wouldn't I? As long as I can write and tell a cohesive story, why not? So that's just kind of how it is. So if you don't like it, just make it your own, right? Just write your own shit. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to say when it comes down to this, because this whole thing and just this whole lolly shit in general, when it comes down to the hatred of it, it's so freaking forced. It's just so forced, so hard for no reason. Especially when this shit doesn't need to be this way. Just let people enjoy the shit that they want to enjoy and just deal with it. Because I promise you, no one's batting an eye at this shit at a convention or some shit. You go to an anime convention, I promise you, no one should be batting an eye at this shit that hard. Right? You really shouldn't be. And if it is your biggest pain or anything like that,
if this is your biggest pain, Lolicon, if this is your biggest pain, you should get a life.
Then literally like go somewhere else with that. Right? It's no different This is just how the Lolicon conversation been for years. This is no different from violent video games. This is no different from people bitching about fan service in shows because they don't like it. Just go somewhere else and enjoy something else that isn't this. Because it shouldn't have to conform to a single group of people that didn't even make the shit in the first damn place. So that's just my personal take on it. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this whole thing? Also, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Ko-Fi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's boy Jay, sign off.
Good, thank you for the information, accolades. I think I said enough. He said enough. Good video again. Like this dude. Nicely said. Or for the most part, at least, how I think. As it is, good night.